Welcome to my channel. Today's question is, you can't afford rent, but your boss offered help for a price. What would you do? Your boss, who is a millionaire and seems to genuinely like you, pulls you aside and says, I know how hard it is to find an affordable place in this city. If you were my son or daughter, I'd lend you 100 grand in a heartbeat. Since you're not, I'll offer you a slightly smaller favor. How about I lend you 50 grand for rent if you agree to work 1 extra day per week for me for the next 5 years? No strings attached. He writes out a check for $50,000 and hands it to you. This seems too good to be true. There are definitely strings attached. By taking his help, you're agreeing to be his personal assistant, working an extra 40 hours a week at his beck and call, taking care of his needs before your own, all for the next 5 years. Is that really what he meant by no strings attached? You think about how much you need this money. Taking his offer would mean you don't have to move out of state and leave your friends and family behind. It would mean financial security and peace of mind for you and your loved ones. On the other hand, it would mean sacrificing your dignity, becoming a servant to your boss, doing whatever he asks without question for the next half-decade. And what happens when the 5 years are up? You've now entered into a sort of indentured servitude. Will you be able to get out from under his thumb? Or will you forever be trapped in this gilded cage of your own making? Would you accept the offer? Yes or no? Let me know in the comments. Then read on to see how others have dealt with this kind of dilemma. One reader wrote in, I had a similar situation while working in Saudi Arabia. A co-worker was offered accommodation by our employer. It was a deal that most of us would have jumped at. The only catch was that we'd have to move in with the owner of the company and his family. All of the other employees who accepted the offer quickly learned that they were essentially servants of the family. They did things like ironing clothes, cleaning dishes, looking after kids, and so on, and they got very little in return. After 2 months, everyone quit except for one guy who still lives there. I often wonder what happened to him. He probably took the option purely for the money because he desperately needed it. Another reader wrote in, I was desperate once, but I never sold my soul to get ahead. I knew that no matter how badly I needed something, if I had to sell my soul to get it, it wasn't worth having. One time I was homeless and sleeping in my car with my 2 young kids, and I was desperate for a job. I saw a sign on a grocery store window that said, Help wanted, apply inside. I marched right up to that door and literally pounded on it until someone came and let me in. I explained to the manager that I needed a job and I was willing to do anything. He looked me up and down and said, We only hire people who look like they're sober and stable. I told him I was both, and I begged him to give me a chance. Finally, he relented and gave me a janitorial job. I worked that job 7 days a week, and I saved every penny I made. Within 3 months, I was able to get a small apartment, and we were back on our feet. Sure, it was humbling, but it was better than being homeless, and I didn't have to compromise my principles to do it. I admire this person's tenacity. We can be so quick to judge those less fortunate than ourselves. But the truth is, any one of us could end up in that position given the right set of circumstances. So I always try to extend compassion to those in need. Have you ever had to choose between your dignity and your need for survival? If so, please share your story in the comments below. I'm eager to hear your thoughts on today's dilemma as well. Your story may be featured in a future episode. And before you go, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I release new episodes every weekday. Thanks for watching. Take care.